Spectral Intrusion. It started with whispers no one could place, objects shifting when no one touched them, and shadows that didn't belong. At first, Maple Grove's families told themselves it was nothing, drafts, bad wiring, tired minds. But the small disturbances grew bolder, until every home in the cul-de-sac was haunted. In the center of it all was Lily Harrison, a little girl who claimed she had a new friend. And he wasn't human. The Harrians had moved into Maple Grove in late August, when the nights were still hot and the air smelled of barbecues. Emma Harrison loved the neighborhood at first sight, perfectly manicured lawns, cheerful porch lights, kids on bikes racing the twilight. Her husband Mark had been just as charmed, calling it the safest slice of suburbia you could imagine. For their 6-year-old daughter Lily, Maple Grove was supposed to be paradise. At first, it was. But things began to sour quickly. The first night, Emma swore she heard faint knocking in the walls. She blamed it on pipes. On the second night, their kitchen chairs were found pulled from the table and arranged in a perfect circle on the floor. Mark laughed it off, suggesting Lily had been sleepwalking. But Emma wasn't so sure. By the third night, when the baby monitor crackled to life with soft laughter even though Lily was fast asleep, Emma's unease hardened into fear. The Harrians weren't the only ones noticing things. The Carters next door claimed the TV turned itself on at 3 a.m., always tuned to static. The Patels swore their son Arjun kept waking up screaming about the tall shadow in his closet. No one said much at first. Neighbors wanted to believe they were still safe in their perfect cul-de-sac. But the unease spread like rot. At the center of it all was Lily. Emma first noticed the changes in her daughter one Saturday morning. Lily had always been playful, imaginative. She loved to draw pictures of animals, princesses, castles. But that morning, when Emma came into the living room, Lily had filled an entire page with thick black crayon. In the center of the darkness was a single white circle, like an eye. "Sweetheart, what's that supposed to be?" Emma asked gently. Lily looked up with a calm, eerie seriousness. "It's my friend. He watches us." Emma's smile faltered. "Who told you that?" "He did." Emma felt the house grow colder, though the air conditioner wasn't on. From then on, Lily spoke often of her friend. She'd whisper to empty corners, laugh when no one else was in the room, and draw more pictures, always the same black shape with too many arms, too many eyes. When Emma asked Mark if he noticed, he brushed it off. "She's a kid, Em. Imaginary friends aren't exactly rare." But Emma knew better. Lily's drawings weren't playful. They felt like warnings. The neighbors were beginning to fray as well. Jason Carter, once the star pitcher on his school's baseball team, now muttered to himself constantly. He stopped eating at the dinner table, instead sitting by the window at night, staring into the fog. When his mother tried to pull him away, he screamed that they would be angry if he moved. Arjun Patel began waking in the middle of the night, whispering in a language he had never been taught. His parents swore they heard voices answering him from inside the walls. Every household in Maple Grove had its story, doors slamming, objects moving, cold spots appearing in warm rooms. But no one dared call it what it was. No one except Emma, who now spent sleepless nights clutching her daughter's baby monitor, listening to Lily's faint whispers with dread. By the third week, Lily was no longer herself. She would sit in the dark for hours, lips moving faintly as if in conversation. One morning she told Emma, "Grandpa says hello." Emma froze. Her father had died before Lily was born. She had never spoken of him in front of her daughter. At dinner, Lily refused to eat. When pressed, she murmured, "I don't need to eat." "He says I don't." She gestured to the empty chair at the table. "He says Mommy shouldn't hurt you." The room seemed to chill. Mark dropped his fork, finally unnerved. That night, Mark saw Lily's crayons rise from the floor and orbit slowly around her as she hummed. His denial shattered. "She's possessed," Emma whispered later, trembling. Mark shook his head violently. "Don't say that. Don't even say that word." But the truth was undeniable. The neighbors fell deeper into madness. The Carters tried to leave, but their car wouldn't start. When they tried again with new tires, all four shredded as if sliced. Jason was seen crouched in their driveway, whispering, while the air around him shimmered faintly, unnaturally. The Patels began screaming in the night, their voices carrying down the cul-de-sac. Neighbors said Mrs. Patel was found clawing the walls, blood under her fingernails, while her son Arjun laughed and said, "He likes us better this way." The whispers no longer waited for night. They filled the air at all hours, a constant backdrop to daily life. Sometimes laughter, sometimes sobbing, sometimes commands no one could resist. And always, Lily listened. On the first night of October, the entity revealed itself. Everyone in Maple Grove woke to pounding fists inside their walls, as though hundreds of trapped people begged to be freed. Windows blew open, wind howled, and the whispers rose into a deafening roar. Emma clutched Mark in bed, trembling, while Lily stood calmly in the doorway, smiling faintly. "He says tonight is the beginning," she whispered. Across the street, Jason Carter roared with a voice not his own, clawing at the earth. The Patels wandered barefoot into the road, chanting. Arjun clapped his hands like a child at play. The fog at the end of the street pulsed as something vast stirred within it. A shape not human, not solid, shifting endlessly as if reality rejected it. The ground shuddered. Houses groaned. Windows shattered. Furniture flew. The neighbors, once friends and families, were torn apart in chaos. Some fled into the fog and never came out. Some screamed until the air swallowed their voices. Emma tried to hold Lily, sobbing, but her daughter only smiled. Her body lifted gently from the ground, hair floating as though underwater. "Don't be afraid, Mommy," Lily whispered. Her voice was layered now, dozens of voices speaking as one. "If you just let go, it doesn't hurt." Emma screamed, but Lily slipped from her arms into the waiting fog. When dawn came, silence blanketed Maple Grove. The cul-de-sac was ruined, houses gutted, cars abandoned. No neighbors remained. No laughter, no life. Only Emma sat on the curb, broken and trembling, staring into the hollow street. Mark was gone. Lily was gone. Everyone was gone. But Emma still heard them. The whispers had not stopped. Authorities arrived by noon. Police, EMTs, firemen, all baffled by the devastation, all unsettled by the silence. No bodies were found. Only one survivor remained, Emma, muttering about something that wasn't human. The news sees the story, entire neighborhood vanishes. One survivor claims paranormal involvement. Most dismissed it. Trauma, delusion, hysteria. But Emma knew better. Because the whispers followed her everywhere. In the hospital at night, she heard Lily laugh. She heard Mark's voice. She heard things that had never been human. "We're here, Mommy. We'll always be here." The lights flickered. The shadows stretched. Emma screamed until nurses ran in. She was eventually released, her mind fragile but her body stable. She moved in with her sister 2 towns over. But the whispers came there, too. They never stopped. Sometimes she found notes in Lily's handwriting. Sometimes she woke to laughter in the hall. One morning, she told her sister, "Don't follow me." And then she vanished. Her car was later found abandoned at the barricades around Maple Grove. The keys were still in the ignition. Today, Maple Grove sits silent, fenced off, condemned. Curious thrill seekers sneak in at night. Some emerge shaken, some laughing nervously, but a few whisper of hearing children's voices or seeing small handprints pressed against dusty windows. One video showed a childlike figure smiling through the fog before it was deleted. But Emma never needed proof. She already knew Lily was waiting. And that the spectral intrusion was never bound to Maple Grove. It was only the beginning.